Hey everybody, how's it going? I am doing something different today. We are doing a tier list. A tier list of the worst animated movies of the past decade. I asked my Twitter followers and people on YouTube to suggest different films, ones that they thought were the worst of the decade. Needless to say, there are some pretty bad options. I guess that's the point. There are also films that I do not agree with on this list. Like, as you can see, there are some movies that probably shouldn't be here, but I wanted to respect people's choices. I wanted to put down what they said. And there were a surprising amount of people who were like, yeah, put this one on there. So here we are. As far as the ranking goes, we have didn't watch, which unfortunately, I did not watch all of these. And by unfortunately, I mean fortunately for me. There's not bad, with little parentheses of might even be good, meh, pretty bad, awful, and then the absolute worst. So on that note, let's get to it. First, we have Hoodwinked 2, which goes right into the did not watch category. You know, I'm surprised. I had no idea there was even a sequel. Like, yeah, there's the original film, and I know that it played kind of like Shrek did, where it made fun of fairy tales, but I never saw it. And I didn't see the sequel either, but apparently it's bad, so eh. Next, there is Despicable Me 3. You know, I actually think that this film is worse than the Minions. It feels so empty. Like, okay, we got Gru and his kids in the first film, which I actually liked that movie. Then there's the second film with his wife. And now we have the third film. What do we do? His brother. Why not? So yeah, the story feels contrived, wasn't as funny. I didn't care for it. It's pretty bad. So I put you in the pretty bad category. Next, we have the LORAX. Yeah, all of you Onceler fans, I know you all exist on Tumblr. Don't you try to hide from me. I didn't think the LORAX was that bad. Wasn't as good as like Horton Hears a Who, but I think it had some heart. And Danny DeVito as the LORAX was some pretty good casting. So I put you in the meh category. Nothing outstanding about you. Animation's all right. Y'all took some pretty dumb liberties with your film, but overall, not bad. Just meh. Next, there's Illumination's The Grinch. Boring. Just feels so empty. Like, what are we doing here? It feels, how would I say this? It feels normie. Ugh, I don't even like that word. Lowest common denominator. It just feels like it's trying to appeal to a broad crowd of moms and their soy chai tea lattes. And I like Benedict Cumberbatch. How do you say his name? Benedict Cumberbatch. I thought he did a good job. He does a great job in other movies, but here it's just like, I don't see what's so special about it. So put you in the meh category as well. Next, there's Freebirds, which I did not see. Apparently it's based on like propaganda or something. A propaganda movie, ladies and gentlemen. I'll have to check this one out later. Then there's Lion King 2019. Yeah, you're awful. You're awful because you ripped off a better movie and you did nothing different. Like, okay, it's computer animation, but you call yourself live action, but you're in the running for best animated feature of 2019. So you can go die for all I care. There's nothing outstanding. It's a complete ripoff. A shameless cash grab that is a shadow of a superior film. So yeah, you belong in the awful category. As you can see, I'm heavily biased against this movie. Next, there's Angry Birds 2, which I did not see. So I guess I'm putting you in the did not see category. But I saw the first film and I thought it was okay. After that, there's Izzy's Way Home. Holy God, top tier awful category. You're close to getting into the low tier absolute worst. Izzy's Way Home is a shameless ripoff and a very low budget, ugly way of Finding Nemo. It's from the folks of Asylum, who do Sharknado. They do a bunch of other mockbusters like Atlantic Rim, and they just ripped off Finding Nemo. Trying to, they released the film around Finding Dory, trying to ride the tailcoats of better films and better studios and better ingredients, Papa John's. The day of reckoning will come. But yeah, this is a terrible movie, awful voice acting, awful dialogue, such an empty, ugly ocean with just these gross characters and a very boring story. It's awful. It's, you know what? Yeah, absolute worst. I put you in the low tier, absolute worst. Then there's Where the Dead Go to Die. I've not seen this film. I've been told about this film. I've been told that it's terrible, like not in just a bad way from a quality point of view of production, but also from a story that it's just the worst. It's edgy, awful terribleness that is violent, I believe, and graphic. I haven't seen it. I don't know if I should or not. I feel like this is one of those forbidden movies, but maybe I will review it, but we'll see. We'll see. Then there's Minions. Oh, I put you in the low tier, pretty bad category. So I don't think it's like the worst, but it's far from being good. The movie on its own, like take away all of the stupid like promotion of the Minions, all of the oversaturation of them being everywhere. Just get rid of that. Just look at the movie. It's dumb. Characters aren't that deep. It's very surface level with the story and the characters and what they're trying to tell. Trying to entertain kids, trying to keep it, again, this is one of the motifs of, motif isn't the right thing, calling cards is lowest common denominator. So that's what Minions is. That's what they're trying to advertise to, or just the masses. And in that regard, it's just, it's not that good. Then there is Walking with Dinosaurs, the movie. Not many folks know about this one, for good reason. It's cursed. This film, I remember seeing a trailer for it, and I'm like, oh, cool. They're doing a Walking with Dinosaurs movie based on those, like, animated documentaries back in the day from Discovery, like Walking with Dinosaurs and Walking with Prehistoric Beasts and Walking with Monsters. I think that's one. Walking with Cavemen. And I was excited because I thought that this would be a high budget, like Walking with series. And I'm a fan of that. Too bad some idiots from Hollywood were like, hey, the kids aren't watching this movie. We're losing their attention. Let's dub over the dinosaurs with stupid surfer boy voices. Listen, it's awful.
That's right. I'm talking to you, tiny arms.
Yeah, that is some pretty bad dialogue, right? This film was ruined because they decided to dub it and did a terrible job at it. Spit in the eye of the original film. Never watched the dub version. It is god awful. And because of that, I put this movie in the awful category. Then there is Home. Yeah, this is one of the most forgettable movies that DreamWorks ever made. I put you in the pretty bad category because of it. Bazinga, it's Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang, being an alien, going around with this little girl trying to find her mom, if I recall. It's that forgettable. It's just this is one of the most like forgotten films when it comes to DreamWorks. Oh, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, Home. What's that? What's Home? Never heard of it. So there you go, right into the pretty dang bad. Next, there's Open Season 3. I never saw it. Didn't even know that they had a third movie. Or a second, for that matter. Then there's Food Fight. Oh, Lord. This one is legendary. Infamous. One of the worst films ever made. It strikes out every category. I've not reviewed it on my channel officially. Many folks have told me to. I might. We'll see. I feel like so many other folks already talked about this film that I have nothing I can really add to it. But whatever, maybe, we'll see. But it is one of the ugliest movies I've ever seen. The story is insanity. The character designs are nightmarish. You got these just washed up actors providing voices to get a paycheck so they can pay their Hollywood rent. It's garbage. In every sense of the word, this movie is garbage. And it also sells out. Ooh, it's the Mr. Clean. Isn't that what you kids want to watch? Mr. Clean or Tuna Sam? I think that's his name. So Food Fight, I would put you in the absolute worst category. You are one of the worst. Then there's Ice Age Collision Course. So I've skimmed through this movie while editing videos. Like during my Blue Sky video, I skimmed through Ice Age Collision Course, but I haven't finished it. looks awful, but I'll have to put you in the did not watch category. I'll get around to you eventually. Then there is A Turtle's Tale. I thought it was meh. Like, despite trying to emulate Finding Nemo, I didn't think it was that bad. So yeah, but there's nothing too special about it. It's pretty boring as well. So yeah, meh. You're a meh kind of film. Then there is, oh Lord, Mars Needs Moms. This film is nightmarish. These character designs with their motion capture is like, what's it called again? Your sleep paralysis demon? Yeah, that's what it's like. You got these sleep paralysis demon Martians running around stealing humans and their moms. This movie is so ugly and hard to watch. I don't even care if the story is slightly engaging. It is just murder on the eyes. So I put you in the awful category. You are an awful film. Then there is Strange Magic, which I have not seen. So into the did not watch category you go. Apparently it's pretty bad though, from what I'm told. And it was produced by George Lucas. Okay. Then there is Wildlife. Haven't seen that one either. Into the did not watch category. That poster art does not leave much to the imagination though. So I can see why people voted for this on the list. Oh, there's another one I haven't seen, Wonder Park. Actually doesn't look that bad to me visually, so I can imagine it's the story that sucks. I do know that this film had no credited director, which is like a first, I think, ever in history. Geez, I guess it was that bad. Then there's Sausage Party. So I will actually take a stand for this one. I had my doubts. I thought that this film would be cheap poo-poo butt fart jokes, which there are some, and also a fair share of sex jokes, which there are definitely those jokes in the film. But the story was surprisingly engaging, talking about belief, God, atheism, things like that, being blinded by religion, which I'm not saying one way or the other on that topic. I just think that the theme itself was something I wasn't expecting and was told quite well. So in that regard, I'd put Sausage Party up in the not bad category. I think it's actually pretty solid and has its moments that are hilarious. Now, how they treated the folks who worked on the movie, that's awful. But the movie itself, on its own, I think it's fine. Then there's Hell and Back. I have not seen this movie. Apparently it is awful, though, from what I'm told. Just crass and stupid and nothing of value. So into the did not watch category with you. Then there's Ugly Dolls. Oh wow, this movie was boring. Holy crap, was it boring. So uninspired. And yet, I say uninspired, but also it copies Trolls. Like, come on, you can't tell me that this wasn't based on the success of DreamWorks Trolls. Like, oh, we got a product, it was popular 10 years ago, let's make a movie for it. Let's get Pitbull, he's in the movie, why? So yeah, Ugly Dolls. Visually, I don't think it's nightmarish. At the same time, doesn't look that fantastic either. But the story, the characters, the delivery, just weak. It was weak. Then there is a movie that bothers me quite a bit that it ended up on this list. And a lot of folks said that it should be on this list. The Good Dinosaur. Listen, I get it. This movie did not do well at the box office. It didn't have that typical Pixar charm and oomph behind it, but this is still a high quality film. Like, from a visual point of view, this movie is beautiful. The story, very vanilla. I did not fall in love with it, but I still enjoyed it. It was just a very basic film with the story it was trying to tell and the characters that are in it. But worst of the decade? Absolutely not. So this movie goes into the not bad, might even be good category. Spark, A Space Tale. So I reviewed this movie early in 2019 and I thought it was okay. Like, I can see that it had a low budget production. It wasn't from a big studio like Pixar or Disney or DreamWorks. The story itself wasn't that amazing, nor the characters, but at the same time, I thought it was competent and enjoyable enough. So I put you in the not that bad category. Then there's Boss Baby. Ooh, this was a weird one. This felt a lot like an Illumination film, but it wasn't. It was DreamWorks, and they pushed it like an Illumination film as far as the advertising goes. Kind of, trying to appeal to a broader audience with, oh, it's babies. Everybody likes babies, right? I don't. Got Alec Baldwin as the main character. Not the main character, voicing the main character. The universe, the setting, the characters just didn't really click that well with me. I didn't enjoy it. I just kind of just had my arms crossed and I was like, this was a movie. So I wouldn't say it's the worst of the decade. Definitely one of the worst films from DreamWorks as far as delivery goes. Not as bad as Home, but not nearly as good as like Kung Fu Panda 2 or How to Train Your Dragon. So I would put Boss Baby in the meh category. Then there is Nomeo and Juliet. I did not see this movie. I've seen the trailers though, and it looks pretty dang bad. Like really bad. Gonna dab on you haters with my Nomeo and Juliet gifs into the did not watch category with you. Then there is the Emoji Movie. Ooh, Sony, what were you thinking? This was really bad, like terribly bad. You were capitalizing on a trend with emojis. This movie felt so uninspired. Like compare it to Wreck-It Ralph, which had a very established setting with the arcade and the way the games interacted and could travel from game to game, and how they had their meetings and had their common ground at the power surge cord, whatever it was, or the power outlets. This movie felt like the shadow of a better Wreck-It Ralph. As in like, here's what Wreck-It Ralph did. Well, here's how the Emoji Movie tried to copy it. Here's how the Emoji Movie failed. I think visually it's not terrible because again, it's made from a competent large studio, but the story, the characters, everything else just felt lacking to me. And the fact that they were trying to capitalize on a trend hurts that much more. So I would put the Emoji Movie in the awful category. You are not good. How did you guys make Spider-Verse? That blows my mind. Oh, speaking of Sony, The Star. So I wanted to see this film. Then I saw the trailers for it and how awful it looked. And haven't seen it. I really don't want to. It looks awful. Again, Sony, how did you guys make Spider-Verse, but also made the Emoji Movie and The Star? Like, this blows my mind. But no one's perfect. And that includes Pixar. Because the next movie here is Cars 2. Oh my God, Pixar. This is the worst film you've ever made. Now, I'll just say it, visually, looks fine. That's just how Pixar is. They'll never really ever lack on the visual front. Like whenever these films come out, they're putting out the best they can of what they have at that time. That being said, Cars 2 is also shameless, trying to capitalize on the popularity of the Cars franchise, which is huge, like massive. They make so much money through merchandise. But as far as the movie itself goes, for Cars 2, so uninspired. Let's take Mater, and he's a beloved character. Let's make him the main character. He's a spy film now. I don't know. That's the movie though. What were y'all thinking? Like the first movie isn't like your best either, but it's solid. Even the third movie is actually pretty good as far as like a follow-up. Cars 2 shouldn't exist. It feels so off the path of what you all established in the first film. This hotshot car who it needs to be humbled and goes to Route 66. Okay, I'll watch. Your universe doesn't make sense as far as cars and their biology and logistics go, but whatever, I'll still watch. Cars 2 though, holy crap. That felt like you all gave the middle finger to the audience as far as understanding this world. So Cars 2, I will put you in the pretty bad category. Your visuals save you, but everything else is bad. Next is Smallfoot. I was surprised to see people nominate this one. I saw this movie. I like this movie. I like the music. I think the characters, the designs are cartoony, which I liked. Not like the best, but they were at least somewhat stylized. I thought it was a fine film, a good story. I put you in the not bad, it's actually kind of good category. Then there is Arctic Dogs. Oh, that cold brew, it's hitting me right now. So Arctic Dogs is, pretty bad. I'd say it's awful. I put you in the awful category because you are not really fun at all in any category. Your universe is dumb. Your story is complicated yet stupid. It is visually nothing stunning. It feels more like a Nickelodeon TV movie or a TV show even. I don't know what you all were thinking when you made this movie and when you released it, but yet somehow, despite your shortcomings, there is another movie that did worse this year, but we'll talk about that here in a bit. Norman the North and all of its sequels, I'm gonna group them all together because they're all equally bad. Again, trying to plagiarize successful franchises and movies. They tried to copy Minions. They had their big stupid New York trip and then a bunch of sequels to, of all places, China. I have a theory, by the way, that Norman the North, the folks who make these movies, are trying to appeal to the Chinese market. Because in all of their sequels, for the most part, they have Chinese characters, or they're going to China and they're trying to really puff up the Chinese and make them look like they're the heroes and praise their culture, which nothing wrong with that. But it's just such a weird, jarring direction to go, it's Rob Schneider in New York with the Lemmings, and then go to China? Watch it for yourself. It is absolute insanity. And you've got this rabbit character who is one of the most Mary Sue characters I've ever seen. I put Norman the North and all of its sequels in the awful category. Stop making sequels. Why are you guys making sequels? Cut that out. Then there's Son of Bigfoot. I like this movie. I did a review on it. I thought it would be pretty bad, but the movie is competent, has a story that is solid, good characters, and fun dialogue. Into the not bad category you go. I'm just putting movies into this list that people voted on and suggested. A lot of folks suggested this one, and I don't think it's that bad. Then there is Sheep and Wolves. And I guess I'll also include its sequel. Sheep and Wolves, oh man, one of my most infamous reviews, right? I don't like the universe. I think some of these characters are dumb and not likable. The story is the old school story of being transformed and learning a lesson. We've seen that before. This film doesn't do anything spectacular with that premise. Visually, it's competent. Not really a fan of the character designs and the logistics behind the setting, but it's not unbearable. So I put Sheep and Wolves and Sheep and Wolves 2 in the meh category. It could be so much worse, but it could also be so much better. Then there's Tom and Jerry and Willy Wonka. Yeah, awful. What a bad movie. What the hell were you all thinking? You took two precious properties, one with Willy Wonka and one with Tom and Jerry, and somehow made it worse. Oh my God. Then there's Alpha and Omega and all of its sequels. So there's 4 or 5 sequels for Alpha and Omega, and I've never even seen the original. So all of these movies go into the did not watch category. I've been told about them, that they're bad, that they look stupid. I will get around to them, folks, I promise. Then there's Tarzan 3D. So this is a movie not many folks know about. There's this motion capture Tarzan movie that was released in 2013. It looks ridiculous. You have Tarzan, which I'm pretty sure is a public domain property, but you have this big-eyed Tarzan kid, and then there's a meteor that hits the jungle. It's ridiculous. It's a really bad film too. Horrible pacing. So you go into the awful category. I might review this movie in the future. Then there's a film that I do not agree with whatsoever for being on this list. Ralph Wrecks the Internet. Again, I'm just putting things on this list that enough folks voted on to put on this list. And that includes The Good Dinosaur, Smallfoot, and Ralph Wrecks the Internet, which I, again, don't think that these films are the worst of the decade at all. Ralph Wrecks the Internet is not as good as the first movie. It is lacking heart. It's feels cheap in how they're trying to cash in on the trend of the internet. I also respect what they did as far as like, okay, we're going to try to create a setting and have fun and do basically a glorified crossover in some ways. When else are you going to see this level of fan service on the big screen? That was fun, but that was not enough to make a good movie overall. That being said, it's not bad. It's not a bad movie, just not as good as the first. So I would put you in the not bad category. Then there's Cargo. Now this film is awful. Not just awful, it goes up into the absolute worst category. This movie tried to cash in on Cars 3, so plagiarized. It looks ugly. Its pacing is terrible. It is a very boring, yet also cringy bad film where you've got bad voice acting. You got these static characters that don't really move that much. And when they do move, the movement is jarring. Awful songs. You got Ed Asner with his robotic voice singing. And this movie's just bad. It's incredibly bad. It's hard to watch. I would bet any of you to sit down and watch this movie and find any enjoyment whatsoever in it. Because guess what? It's not there. There's nothing of joy about this movie, so don't watch it. Then there's Planes. Did not watch you. I definitely see what Disney was trying to do on their own and copy the Cars franchise with Dane Cook. Why the hell not? But yeah, I did not see this film. Then there is the Playmobil movie. So I've been thinking a lot about this movie after reviewing it. I did not enjoy it, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's meh. It's a very average movie, uninspired in how it tried to copy the Lego movie. So shame on you in that regard. You failed at it. It's more of a testament to the Lego movie and how they pulled off something pretty impossible and not just succeed, but be a smashing success. Playmobil was not able to do the same thing. The story drags, the characters aren't that interesting, the setting itself isn't that interesting either. Visually, I don't think it's incompetent. I think it actually has some pretty good moments, but just there was no backbone or heart with this movie. So I put you at the upper end meh category. Now we're down to our last three. I'm gonna hit up the two that aren't as bad first. I say not as bad. Sir Billy is still pretty damn bad. You got Sean Connery, who decided to do an animated movie as his last credited film. It looks ugly. The character designs look like they don't match up whatsoever, like they're from some mutant camp. The story itself is just bizarre. It's hard to follow. I'm Sean Connery and I'm the Highlander protector and I'm gonna save a beaver and stop this evil police officer. What? What are you talking about? I can also skateboard. It's outrageous. This movie's outrageous. It's bad. I put you in the awful category. It is... There's nothing fun about this movie. Then there's Sing. Sing is made by Illumination. I wouldn't say it's bad. I'd say it's meh. Nothing really that terribly exciting about it. Again, Illumination trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator. Who likes music? Who likes Taylor Swift? Who likes Seth MacFarlane's persona of being a mouse? That's Sing. Nothing overly complicated or incredible about it. It's just a very basic film. It's a jukebox. And I think it's meh. I don't think it's deserving of the not bad category. I think saying that it's meh is good enough. It's just a meh film. Though I did get an email from somebody who said, because in my Illumination video about a year ago, I said that Sing is painfully average, and I still stand by that. I got an email where this person's like, Sing is not painfully average, you just don't understand it, you fool, I abhor you. And that's one of the best emails I've ever gotten. I'm actually going to print it out and frame it in my office. I love this email. It is the best. And the last film on our list is Trollland, which is the absolute worst film of this decade. And I stand by that. Trollland is ugly, 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 ugly. character designs are terrible. They clash. They look like they're from different films. The movie itself didn't really even properly animate these characters. You got them T-posing and clipping through, and their jarring movement of their legs shattering as they move around. I've seen better animation from amateur SFM animation channels where you got people doing TF2 SFM videos that look much more fluid than whatever this movie was. I don't know what happened. Were the folks incompetent? Were they trying to rush it out? Was it both? I don't know. But the movement, the visuals in this movie it's god awful. It is nightmarishly bad. It's so bad that you can laugh at it, but after seeing it for about an hour, you start to sit there in silence and realize how just truly terrible Trollland is. Awful characters as far as their performance, their delivery. These voice actors sound dead on the inside. Yet Dick Van Dyke, they dragged him out of his grave to record and do a line for this movie. Do not care about the story. Oh, it's a troll becoming friends with a human at the camp. They're both being bullied. Who cares? Villain's stupid. Yet Queen Elizabeth's in this movie, a poster of her. I kid you not, that is in this movie. Like, not even like an animated one, but an actual real life like JPEG of Queen Elizabeth. You got just dumb edits, dumb pacing, just dumb everything. And worst part of all is it was trying to rip off DreamWorks Trolls and confuse people into buying their movie. Like these poor, unsuspecting grandmas who had no idea. So, for all of that, for being terrible in every category that exists, and also being a shameless ripoff, I would call Trollland the absolute worst film of this decade as far as animated goes. Possibly the worst ever. So, those are my rankings for the worst animated movies of the decade. Let me know what you all think in the comments. Did you like this video? Do you like these tier lists? As you can see, it's a lot more casual paced. I had fun making this, so let me know what you all think. And if there are other movies I left out, or other films that you all believe are worse than Trollland, let me know in the comments. I want a discussion. I want to see if it's even possible to be worse than Trollland, because personally, I don't think it is. I don't think it's humanly possible. And if it is, we might destroy our planet. Please pray for me as we go into this new decade and the horrors we all might witness.